Honestly, I've been very fortunate in my life. Everywhere I went, there's somebody who opened the door for me. There's somebody who took care of me. My story is a little bit interesting. I mean, I started out playing as a striker. I wanted to be a number 9, number 10. For the better part, as a young player, as a youth player, that's where I played. I believe I'm the all-time goal scorer for the under-23s and for the senior national team. But later on in my career, when I was at Ajax Cape Town, we had an issue with the midfielders. We had one available for one of the games. His name was Enong Yong. So the club called me in, well, the head coach called me in for a meeting to ask me to play as an 8 and play alongside him in the midfield, because they think I'm the only one in the squad, in the available squad, who can play in that position. So I was like, I've been kind of in and out of the team, so I don't mind playing as a midfielder so long as I'm in the pitch. And that was the beginning of everything. From being a striker all my life, I started playing in midfield. So I took over the position. Even when the other guys were fit again, the team now was built around me. So I got to be paired with some of the younger players in the midfield. And that has gone on until I retired. Even with the national team now, the coach would pick me as a 10, but I'll end up playing as an 8 to help beef up the midfield. Finally, in my career, I qualified for the African Nations Cup after 12, 14 years, playing as a midfielder without a single goal in the campaign. We finally made it to the African Nations Cup. Times have changed, man. Times are different now. I mean, our time, I believe it was very, very competitive. I mean, there was no TV. TV came right after I left for the Premier League. And I'd come from a second division club. It was called Nyangagwe FC. And now it's still in the lower leagues, but it's called UB Hawks. So by then, it was really, really competitive. I come from a generation where the lower leagues were very, very competitive, had huge following. So by the time we got to the Premier League, everybody knew us because we were also playing for the national teams. And if I compare the two, I honestly, right now, there's TV, there's social media, but yet we are still struggling to produce players to play outside and play internationally. They are under a lot of pressure because we qualified then. So it seems like it's an expectation for them to qualify now, even if the standard is not the same. But we do have quality players. I hope they find it in them to gel and play as a team and be ambitious to want to play outside Botswana, because that's where you get to develop. That's where you get to learn more about the game and get the exposure. So I'm really praying for the guys to step up. With some big shoes to fill, but they can be filled because they have all the necessary resources, I believe. I mean, it shouldn't be just about league sponsorship. It's about exposure. It's about the kind of coaching you get, the facilities that you train at. So they have all that. I hope that they can live up to the expectation. Go to college and play college soccer in America, play in Denmark, and then come to South Africa and play there for almost 8-9 years and finally get my shot at the Nations Cup. Because there's a generation that has qualified over a long period, guys like me and the other guys that came like Mafofi, Jewel, Marumo, their journey shouldn't be as long as ours because we are there. They could be learning stuff from us on how to shorten that time period of waiting to qualify. Maybe they can get some tips on how to improve as a soccer player, how to improve your life as a professional player, how to plan and how to be ambitious. It doesn't necessarily have to be 5-6 years. I mean, if they decide, like we decided at some point, but it took us 7-8 years to decide to want to compete at the highest level. My time when we qualified, we had 7 professional players playing in South Africa at the time, and it's a higher level from our level. And I think that really shaped up the team. We had 7 captains, 7 leaders on the pitch that are playing pro, and that speaks volumes for any team. Currently, I know we have Orobonye playing in Algeria now. he's getting a lot of exposure there and he's learning. But, it's tough for him to lead the team by himself. When I started and I was the first professional player playing in Denmark and the US, I was the only one flying in. So the pressure was on me. I did my best. At some point, I was Africa's best scorer up until the end of the qualifiers for World Cup 2006. I ended up being Africa's fifth top scorer. I scored 6 goals in 12 matches, but Botswana was bottom of the group. You can imagine how difficult it was for me. So I hope the guys can be ambitious and go to South Africa, go to Algeria, go to Belgium, Japan, just go somewhere and challenge yourself and try and make money for yourself. As soon as you leave your country, you become something, you join a different level because there it's different. The pay is different, the approach is different, the culture is different, the exposure is amazing, it's huge. We still want to do things the way we did it back in the 60s. And it shouldn't be like that because we're exposed right now. The world is so much smaller now. Like I'm saying, the social media, we have all these platforms to show our talent, but you can't just show it and not want to desire to go. It won't be easy. Imagine somebody tells you, yo, D, I want to bring you for trials in Holland. And you say, oh, okay, how am I going to Holland? You're like, yeah, I'll put you on a flight, but you have to fly out from Joburg. So you get on the bus. I'm on a tight budget, get on a bus, go to Joburg, you find your ticket at the airport, fly to Amsterdam. The guy will tell you, am I flying economy or first class? You haven't proved yourself, First class will come. You have to also sacrifice and be smart and understand that this is an opportunity, a life-changing opportunity that you need to grab with both hands. He's actually out in California right now for a training camp for a month, and then from there they're going to Potchefstroom. He's being coached by a childhood friend of mine that used to play soccer. His coach is a former soccer player and softball player in high school. Became a DJ, entertainer. But later on in life, we had a project that we're doing out in Maung. Well, started collecting data. So over those times, I think the interest for athletics really started growing. And then he went for coaching. He started coaching the kids in Maung. One of the guys that we discovered, I always try and take credit for it, but it wasn't me, it was him, because we were together, that we discovered during my Maung experience, Lungo Scotch. He's now, I think, one of the top 400-meter sprinters in Botswana now. He's out in California with the guy. And it's only been like 7 years. I'm one of the old guys now. It's been a little over 10 years since I last played for the national team, but I believe we left a mark that will be forever be spoken in our football history. I had been in the team since 1998, and I retired in 2012. I've been part of the team for the longest time. I started out with the under-17, got promoted to the under-20, played under-23, and we got promoted to the national team while we were still young. So the first few years were tough because we lost most of the games, but we gained a lot of experience. At some point, we got tired of losing. The guys said, no, we don't want to lose anymore, man. We just want to win. We just want to leave a mark. It was a crazy moment because it was a pressure penalty, and time stood still for a second. I missed the first shot, and it was a retake. And I had to ask God, why bring me all the way here to make this happen? Fortunately, the ref saw that the keeper had come off the line early. So it was a retake. I stepped up and I did what I had to do. And I put my name in the history books after a very, very long time. So I'm really, really proud of that moment. They do say that, which is humbling in a way, because when you're a kid, you never know that you can impact so many lives with what you do and how you do it. That's why I ended up setting up my own academy and trying to teach my trademark moves and stuff. You have the Cruyff turn in Botswana, we have the U10 Dipsy turn, stuff like that. So it's been kind of also life fulfilling, besides the fact that I'm trying to help other kids live their dreams. it has also been a very fulfilling journey for me. When I retired, I didn't know how it would work. You know, I knew I just wanted to impart knowledge. I wanted to share my experiences. I wanted people who had never met me, who just read about me or probably see my pictures to experience me. I started doing the coaching clinics with Dos, the guy who's coaching now. That's why I'd go to his home village in Mahung and I'd bring my equipment and then we'll run coaching clinics. I will call kids in the village and I'd spend the morning with them, you know, and share some drills and some chats, get to understand them and them to understand me and try and give insights on how I succeeded in leaving Botswana. I didn't know that I had to formalize it. So I ended up setting up U10 Dipsy Trust. U10 is a nickname that the people of Botswana gave, you know, so I figured it would have some sort of significance to the people of Botswana. So the trust, I set it up, and that's how I intend on giving back my knowledge and my experience using the trust. Right now, I have an academy. I've been running it for the past 7 years. We have one graduate who's in college in the US. The others kind of trickled away. Some went to some other club teams, but they're still local here. Really nice talent. But now I've got land. I've got a piece of land that I've leased with the council. So the plan is to develop a pitch. I figured I might as well start with soccer because it's what I know. And then I'll bring in other sporting coaches in. One of my best friends, Dos, is as an athletics coach. So after we develop the pitch, we can start talking about the next venture, how do we bring in athletics? People who are swimming coaches, how do we bring swimming in? So it starts with the first baby steps. Project for me now is to get the pitch done. So I am looking for partners internationally. It seems like it's been a challenge for other people to see my dream here, just like it was when I told them in high school that I want to go to school in America and play soccer. And they said, it's impossible, Dipsy. Or me saying, I want to go and play in Europe. They said, there's no Botswana who has ever done it. And there I was. I became the first. So it's nothing new to me, man. It's a struggle. You just have to grind and push. Yeah, well, for me, the messages will always be the same. There's no dream too big to attain or to chase, you know? And we should never limit our lives and our ambitions by what society says. A lot of people would project their fears onto us. And then I always tell the young players, find people or associate yourself with people who share the same dreams as you do. Because if I'm a soccer player and I want to play for Ajax in Amsterdam, for example, my friends or my crew cannot play soccer like me. They will not prioritize soccer. When it's time for me to go play, they'll be like, no, let's go to the park, let's go to the movie, let's go hang out. We've got friends that we can go for a picnic for. But you need to go for training. You need to prepare for a match. So you need to align yourself with people who share your vision, who want the same things you want in life, because they will delay you and derail you from your own dream, no matter how talented you are, until you are able to focus on your passion and your dream. Yes. You will never live